Hello, and welcome to Public Domain Films Podcast, the show where we dive deep into films that have shaped the world of cinema. Today, we're sinking our teeth into one of the most iconic horror films of all time, Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, 1922, directed by F.W. Murnau. This silent German expressionist masterpiece didn't just create an unforgettable vampire story, it laid the foundation for the entire horror genre. From its stunning visual style to its haunting themes, Nosferatu remains a cinematic triumph that continues to inspire filmmakers over a century later. Today, we'll explore its origins, production, groundbreaking visuals, and enduring legacy. Let's step into the shadowy world of Nosferatu. Part 1. The Birth of a Vampire Classic. Nosferatu was conceived in the early 1920s during a period of great artistic experimentation in Germany, known as the Weimar Republic. This era saw the rise of German Expressionism, a movement that emphasized distorted visuals, heightened emotions, and surreal aesthetics. It was in this creative landscape that Prana Film, a short-lived production company founded by Albin Grau and Enrico Diekmann, sought to bring occult-themed stories to the screen. Producer Albin Grau, an occultist and artist, was inspired to create a vampire film by a story he heard during World War I. A Serbian farmer claimed his father had become one of the undead. With this eerie tale in mind, Grau and his team turned to Bram Stoker's Dracula for inspiration. The screenplay, written by Henrik Galeen, was an unauthorized adaptation of Stoker's novel. To avoid copyright issues, the filmmakers changed the setting from England to Germany, renamed the characters, and introduced new elements. Count Dracula became Count Orlok, and Jonathan Harker became Thomas Hutter. Despite these changes, Stoker's widow, Florence Balcom, sued the filmmakers, and a court ordered all copies of the film to be destroyed. Thankfully, several prints survived, allowing Nosferatu to rise from the ashes and achieve legendary status. Part 2. A Haunting Production. The production of Nosferatu was a remarkable feat of ingenuity and resourcefulness. Directed by F.W. Murnau, the film was shot on location in Germany and Slovakia. The team used real castles, villages, and landscapes to create an authentic and eerie atmosphere. Orava Castle in Slovakia stood in for Count Orlok's home, while the town of Wismar became the fictional Wisborg. Max Schreck, a little-known actor, was cast as Count Orlok. His unsettling physicality and eerie performance became one of the film's defining features. Schreck's gaunt face, elongated fingers, and exaggerated movements brought a grotesque, otherworldly quality to the vampire, making him a stark departure from the suave and charismatic portrayals of later Dracula adaptations. Murnau's meticulous direction is evident in every frame. He used innovative techniques such as shadows and silhouettes to heighten the film's gothic atmosphere. The iconic scene of Orlok's shadow ascending a staircase remains one of the most memorable moments in cinematic history. Part 3. Themes and Symbolism. At its core, Nosferatu is a tale of dread and contagion. Set in the fictional town of Wisborg, the story follows Thomas Hutter, who is sent to Transylvania to meet Count Orlok, a mysterious client planning to move to Wisborg. Orlok's arrival brings with it a plague, as rats spill from his coffins and spread disease through the town. This theme of contagion resonated deeply with post-World War I audiences who had recently endured the Spanish flu pandemic and the devastation of war. Orlok's vampirism can be seen as a metaphor for the spread of fear, disease, and the otherness that was often associated with societal anxieties. Some scholars have noted anti-Semitic undertones in the film, pointing to Orlok's rat-like features and his portrayal as an outsider invading a European town. However, others argue that these elements reflect the cultural fears of the time rather than intentional prejudice. The film also explores the idea of sacrifice. Ellen, Hutter's wife, learns from an old book that a pure-hearted woman can destroy a vampire by offering herself as a distraction until sunrise. Her selfless act ultimately leads to Orlok's destruction, symbolizing the triumph of light over darkness. Part 4. Visual Innovation. The visual style of Nosferatu is a masterpiece of German Expressionism. The film's use of distorted sets, dramatic lighting, and surreal imagery creates an otherworldly atmosphere that draws viewers into its haunting world. One of the film's most innovative techniques is its use of shadows. Orlok's shadow is often more menacing than the vampire himself, creeping across walls and staircases in a way that evokes primal fear. These visuals not only enhance the horror, but also serve as a metaphor for the unseen and uncontrollable forces that haunt the characters. Murnau also employed time-lapse photography to depict Orlok's coach speeding through the forest, adding a supernatural element to the journey. This attention to detail and experimentation helped establish Nosferatu as a technical and artistic triumph. Part 5. Music and Atmosphere. The original score for Nosferatu, composed by Hans Erdmann, played a crucial role in enhancing the film's eerie atmosphere. While much of the original score has been lost, its influence endures through reconstructions and new compositions created for various screenings. The haunting music, often performed live during screenings, used dissonant strings and unsettling melodies to evoke dread and tension. Over the years, modern musicians and composers have created new scores for Nosferatu, ranging from orchestral interpretations to experimental and electronic soundscapes. This ongoing reinterpretation ensures that Nosferatu remains a dynamic, living work of art. Part 6. Release, Reception, and Legacy. When Nosferatu premiered on March 4, 1922 in Berlin, it was met with both acclaim and controversy. While critics praised its innovative visuals and eerie atmosphere, the legal battle over its copyright cast a shadow over its release. Despite the court order to destroy all copies, Nosferatu survived and went on to influence generations of filmmakers. It introduced key elements of vampire lore, such as the idea that sunlight is fatal to vampires, a concept absent from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Over the years, Nosferatu has been restored multiple times, allowing modern audiences to experience its haunting beauty. It remains a cornerstone of horror cinema, inspiring films like Werner Herzog's Nosferatu, The Vampire, 1979, and Robert Eggers' upcoming remake. Closing thoughts. Nosferatu is more than just a horror film. It's a cinematic symphony that captures the fears and anxieties of its time. Its blend of artistry, innovation, and timeless themes ensures its place as one of the greatest films ever made. If you haven't seen Nosferatu, I urge you to watch it and experience the haunting genius of F.W. Murnau's vision. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the shadowy world of Nosferatu. Share your thoughts using #PublicDomainFilms, and let's keep the conversation alive. Until next time, this has been Public Domain Films Podcast. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep watching.